that I'm at an all-time
Well, Lauren, hello.
Hello, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Let's switch that up. There we go. KFL tonight. What's going on, man? It's the end of the season. It's wild card weekend. Oh my gosh, we got through the season, and man, the second season we call it in sports begins.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the overtime. This is the bonus period, as far as I'm concerned.
Bonus period. This is for the cup, right? This is for
Right.
the cup. Yeah. I'll tell you, man, I'm excited about it. This is what we play for. You know what I mean? We have an opportunity to try to win the trophy. And a lot, look, I don't care what he says. 8 weeks is a long time. It's been a long year.
It is. 8 weeks is a long time. Over 8 games over 9 weeks, right? But it was really longer than that because we had bye weeks and off weeks and stuff like that. So that to kind of give everybody a chance to regroup. I mean, we started the first week of June, and it's kind of like, okay,
we go all the way through the end of October. I mean, it's it's a long deal. And one thing about it is the season kind of progresses. There's this gap, like a lot of the major trails. Really kind of took the summer off, and it looks like from next year, it's kind of the same situation. You have a lot of trails that's kind of leaking their schedule out a little bit, and it looks like it's the same thing. Yeah. So KFL kind of just fixed snug in that deal.
Yeah.
Now it does one of two things though, Lauren, to be honest with you. It all these anglers in the beginning of the year, they grind. And then you've got this, the KFL kind of right there. And then by this time, people get a little grumpy.
Yeah. People are like, I'm done. I'm done. Their wives are all going, are you ever coming home again?
Right. But
there's yard work to be done now.
It is. Yeah. But you also have guys that are very excited because they're catching their second win, right? You've got like the Hobies getting ready to finish up, and then they're making a run to their TOC. You got the KBF National Championship coming up. A lot of local trails are having their championships. So all that work that you do to the end of the year is finally starting to pay off. And then, of course, now the KFL, we're going to have our championship at Lake Chickamauga at the end of October as well. So, I mean, it's the final push, man. It's just where like the stamina, the mental focus, all these guys have to kind of like reset, right? We had one big grinder of a season, and now you kind of have to reset. These guys are in the playoffs. There's 12 teams in the playoffs, and you got to focus, right? You got to.
Yeah, I mean, and when you get to playoffs and when you start getting to tournament time, that your whole mentality has to change.
Yep.
Because now it's one and done. So you've got to be you're doing your homework now that you may not have been doing in the past. You're scouting these teams, which you may not have scouted them as much as you did in the past.
Yep.
You're really looking at those bodies of water, and as a team, you should be getting together and having conversations of, okay, what do we want to try and throw? Who are we taking? Why are we taking? How does this lake set up?
That's a great question. I mean, and these teams are going to have a very difficult time. The further we get into the playoffs, who are you going to take? Like, right. It's one thing because, like you said, it's one and done, and you've got to field your best team for that particular situation, right? Well, let's go ahead and kind of talk through the playoffs here. Here's the playoff picture, Lauren. I mean, we've got the wild card weekend. Those are the outside edges that are going to be playing, right? The ones that are the 1s and 2 seeds, they get bye weeks. They get to kind of sit back and watch the carnage, right? They get to sit back and see who they get to play. And who they get to play is not set in stone either, because we do a reset after, the weeks, the wild card weekend goes on. So let's start. I mean, right now on the north side.
And here's the thing, Greg, if it fishes the way that fishing happened this weekend, these games could just be
grinders.
Who knows how they're going to come out?
I agree. It's going to be absolute grinders. I mean, like this All-Star weekend, I think we had, basically we had 6, let's see, we had 29 anglers and I think maybe 68 fish were caught or something like that total. I mean, that's not a lot, No, it's not. And only the top 6 anglers were the only ones that got a full limit. That was it. Yeah, that's it, right? It was incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dwayne, the championship date is the 29th of October. It is, we've got the calendar set at Chickamauga from the 26th through the 30th, but it is the 29th that Saturday. It's the week after the KBF National Championship. So, but if you look on the outside there, Lauren, these are the teams that are playing this weekend: Pennsylvania versus Rhode Island. Let's kind of look at it right now. Sure. Pennsylvania versus Rhode Island. I'm not even begin to pronounce the name that they're going to go be fishing. They're not fishing the Susky. The Susky is blown out, and they've made the call already that they didn't want to go fish that because I think it was up like 5.5 feet or something like that in Harrisburg, which is a dangerous current. But what is the lake that they're going to be fishing? How do you pronounce that?
Didn't you say it was Lake Palempok? I think it's Palempok. EKF fished this lake last year.
Right.
And we just destroyed the name of the lake. One of these guys will pop on and tell me the correct pronunciation.
I think
so go for it, guys.
Or something like that. Wannapawpack or something like that is what it is.
Yeah, Wallenpawpack, I think is how it is.
Like that. Yeah. So
lake that shall never be named again.
yeah, no doubt. But I mean, it's not the Susky, and I'm sure these guys are disappointed not being able to fish it. But I mean, the game must go on, right? And so, it's a backup lake for the Pennsylvania Bronzebacks, and the playoff lines are on. The playoff lives are on the line here, and it's the 3 versus the 6 seed. Rhode Island gets in, man, at the 6 seed. Greg Crass, John DeCenzo, Justin Gallo, Chris Catucci is facing on Nick Audi, Ryan and Frank Matalivich, and Chris Santoro, and it's gonna be a great matchup. Awesome.
It's going to be a great matchup, and Nick Audi right now is on fire.
Oh my gosh! I would say he's probably one of the best anglers in the country right now, if not the best.
He walked away with the entire weekend from EKF.
Wow.
He ended up winning the championship. He won Angler of the Year. He was the only one to put up over 90 inches both days. He was just, and he did phenomenal. And, this lake down in Pennsylvania is going to fish to his strengths too.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's not a grassy lake by any kind. I understand it's, more rocky and, it's going to be kind of reservoirs. So, I mean, Greg Crass, these guys have their hands full, but never count out Greg and Chris. When they're together, they do magic on the water. They communicate very, very well. Justin Gallo is also fishing very well. Again, these guys are going to be, I think here's the deal. There's always this like outlier, right? There's always this one person that's going to come up and shock the crap out of you. I think that's going to be Chris Santoro for Pennsylvania Bronzebacks. They need him. He's the guy, kind of like Justin Lacasse of Rhode Island. He's the kicker guy, right? He goes out and gets that big fish. This is going to be a kicker style type game to where you've got to have one or two big kickers that's going to take the victory. And I think Chris needs to show up. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. Awesome to see.
Well, and you've got Nick and Ryan and Frank all going together. These guys fish together regularly. So, I mean, they're a well-oiled machine when it comes to that.
Yep. What's up, Adam, David, Dwayne, Jerry, Matt Linseman? What's up? Everybody's comment tonight, man. Let's go know what's going on. What are y'all doing? What are you drinking? What are y'all doing tonight? So what's up, everybody? Yeah, this is going to be fun. Again, no, here's the deal. If Rhode Island wins, they actually go to Granite State, right? Yeah, they'll go from basically Pennsylvania to Granite State. Now, if Pennsylvania wins, they go to Indianapolis. So that's just the way how it's going to work out. But very, very interesting. The game of the week, by far, I think the game of the week is this next one here. That is the Massachusetts Maulers going to St. Clair versus the Motor City Ambassadors. What a matchup. Here you go. The matchup is Ken Wood, John Ferrer, Matt Conant, and Joe Diadio going against Zach Soulier, Eric Polens, Jeremy Baker, and Matt Linseman. I will promise you, those guys know St. Clair. Those guys can beat you down, but this is going to be fun. Motor City 4, Maulers are 5. Motor City by 6.5 points. Wow, this is going to be, this could be the matchup of the playoffs. You know what I mean? Right. This is going to be so much fun. Great, talented anglers all across the board. This is going to be just so much fun to watch.
Yeah. And Ken, the last couple of weeks, Ken's really caught on fire the last couple of weeks. He finished, I think he finished second overall in EKF this weekend. He had a really great weekend. So it was good for him. He's had a good last couple of weekends that he's been out.
Yep.
And, same thing with Ferreira. Matt's Matt. Matt's dangerous anywhere he goes. It's this and Joe's the silent wild card, right?
Yep.
That you never know. Joe's so quiet, and he shows up on a lake and he can fish totally lights out. Yep. So we watched him last year show up on Cayuga, didn't pre-fish it at all, showed up during a snowstorm, went out and won it. So it was crazy. And Massachusetts has that capability. Motor City has the advantage because they're used to the lake, but I don't count Massachusetts out on this at all.
Never. You can never count these guys out. They have been in playoff mode literally since week 5. So, they've been battle tested. This is just another game. You know what I mean? They went to Pennsylvania. They won on Smallmouth Lake. This is another Smallmouth Lake. And these boys, I'm telling you, like, I know from experience, going against Motor City on this lake is very difficult. You know what I mean? Yep. We gave it our best effort. We put about 180 inches, and we still got beat by 12 inches. A great matchup. But, man, these guys are fishing so well. And I hope this lake shows out and the weather cooperates. So it's going to be fun. Yeah. And like Matt Linseman said, last year, this is a rematch of the first round matchup last year. And Matt, listen, this is a flip, right? So Motor City went to Massachusetts and lost at Massachusetts. Okay. And now Massachusetts has to go to Motor City. So this is payback for these guys from last year. So yeah, fun.
All right.
Yep, fun for sure. All right, the next matchup is my beloved Washington Warhawks are traveling to freaking Arkansas. we're going to Arkansas, and man, not only that's our hey man, you made the playoffs, congratulations, but man, you're going 16 hours away. You're going to go to Arkansas, and wow, if we win, I want to say this: if we win, we got to go to Coosa. And then, Arkansas, if they win, they actually go to Virginia. So, whoever, they're traveling. This is a big travel. The South is traveling a lot of miles. So, it's crazy. But there you go. There's the lineups. It's myself, Victor Hendricks, Joe Costa, and Mike Hogan. We're going against probably one of the best matchups in lineups you'll ever see. Garrett Morgan, Cody Milton, Drew Gregory, and Corey Hopper. They're 10.5 point favorites. Probably should be a little bit more. But man, it's at Lake Dardanelle again. This is the Hobie event happening at the same time. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad, to be honest with you. But anytime you get Cody Milton, Garrett Morgan, and Drew Gregory in a Hobie event, good luck to everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. Right. Well, and that means more anglers on the water than just what might be normally the 8. And what other events might be going on. Sure. But with a Hobie event, you've got, they probably have at least 150, 200 that they're going to have on this lake. So
it'll probably be filled by it's all said and done. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, which means, that's a lot more spots being taken up.
Yes.
That limits your flow and your flexibility to be able to jump around. So that is definitely going to be a factor in it. And it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I know Todd has harped on this about Arkansas. Can Arkansas put up a full bag this week?
Well, I think they can. I mean, first of all, I'm going to go where Adam goes because Adam always catches fish. So, I mean, Adam actually getting out, man, going to Dardanelle. That's awesome, man. Hope to see you there, bro. I don't know, man. I mean, like you said, Arkansas as a whole, I mean, as a state has not been fishing well, but this is a different beast, right? Lake Dardanelle is known probably about 85 inches or so a day will win. It's not like this big bass lake. You do need some kickers here. But at the end of the day, we got to fill the bag first, right? So we've got some strategy. We've done a lot of map study. We have an idea and a game plan where we want to go. I don't know if it's going to work out. I'm not going to be able to pre-fish. I'm coming in late Friday night, like late Friday night. So literally your pre-fishing king, my friend, is going to be pre-fishing on Saturday, and that's game day. So hopefully,
that should work to your favor.
I'm just going to go fishing, man. You know what I mean? So won't have a graph, won't have nothing. Just have my Hobie and a couple rods and some baits, and let's just go at it, boys. Let's go. So
it's going to be fun.
Going to be fun. All right, last matchup, another great matchup here. A lot of fun matchups here. This is the Punishers are going to the Slayers, and this is at Lake Seminole. And again, another fun matchup. This could be potentially the winner could go to Coosa, depending on if whatever happens with us in Arkansas. But Barry Davis, Terry Smith, Frank Wolf, Scott Simmons are taking on Matt Vogt, Dwayne Dwyer, Daniel Higgins, and Brandon Hewlett, a really good squad at Lake Seminole. Again, I don't know if that lake is yet to experience what we've been experiencing here, how these lakes are turning over and really, really tough fishing. I mean, it could happen. If it's a grinder, if it's one of these grinder things, like you said, like, the whole East Coast, the whole nation really hasn't favored too well. I like Palmetto Punisher's chance. You know what I mean? In this. Yeah. I do. As if it's a grinder. If it's going to be just a full out, like what we saw last time with Coosa and the Slayers, I don't know, man. I mean, you might have another situation to where, Slayers put up 190, another team, puts up 192. I don't know. I mean, who knows? I think it's going to be, I think if the lake fishes very well, Slayers know those spots, I mean, all too well. But if it's going to be a grinder, I kind of like Palmetto in it. I really do. So.
Well, the good thing about this is by the time Saturday rolls around, we are well outside of the full moon window, and that just how that impacted this past weekend.
Get the heck out of here!
It was just crazy
Terrible.
How it just impacted every single match all across the United States. That was, I mean, I hate it for the fishermen, but from sitting here on this side of the things, it was kind of cool to watch. I mean, just from the standpoint of, wow, like this is everywhere. It's not just pockets.
No. Yeah, it is. You're exactly right. So Slayers, we got them shooted for 5.5 point favorites, but again, it's going to be a fun matchup to see and how it all shoots out. But the KFL playoffs, man, wild card weekend is here, and that's it. And we'll see who plays who when it's all said and done. Because the very next week, Lauren, is going to be round 2 of the playoffs, right? There's no time to wait. It's just boom. We're going right into week 2, and I hope these guys are ready. So, yep. So anyway, we'll see. All right, Lauren, very special time right now. You ready for this?
Yeah.
I got you here. First of all, I want to say thank you again for all the support you've given us. We are here tonight to present an awards here of the KFL season, and we gladly love to do this. This is going to be the the KFL All Pro team. It is not just some in the north and some in the south or whatever. It's just who was voted to be on the KFL All Pro team. It's basically their consistency, how they acted, how they treated themselves as a teammate. What they did for the KFL, what they did not only for stats and everything else. It was an all-encompassing professional performance for the KFL season this year. And so we want to recognize these anglers on how great they were on the water, but also, as teammates and, what they did to help us and also represent you very, very well. So I'm going to let you read our All Pro and talk about these anglers right now. Here we go. Number one. Here we go. The All Pro team, the 2022 All Pro team. Here we go. Number one. Starting with
Jake Anglis from the Granite State Sticks. I am so excited that he's on this team. Young angler, and he has just been working it. He's, one of the only guys that fished all 8 matches this year. And he is solid, and he is game in, game out. And, he's your ace in the hole for this team.
Started all 8 games. Like you said, average 122 inches per game, set over 7 fish per start. And his biggest fish was 21 1/4. His top 10 bass of the season, get this, it was 192.25 inches. Wow. Like you said, he literally started every single game for the Granite State Sticks, and he is the All Pro, KFL All Pro. Awesome job. All right, our next KFL All Pro, Mr. Rich Biggie. Yes,
from the Bay State Attack. So well deserved for Rich. Rich started off a little slow. He was struggling a little bit there in the first couple of games, and then he got on it, and once he's been on, he has not let go. He has been on fire the whole rest of the season. So great kudos for Rich. It was great to watch him do all the things that he did this year. You have all of his numbers. I think he fished 6 games.
He had 5 starts. He averaged 114.9 inches, 6.88 fish per game, and 191.25 inches for his top 10 fish for the season. And his biggest fish for the season was 21.75. Like you said, this was a different team when Rich was fishing. So Rich Biggie is All Pro. There you go. Congratulations to Rich. What an incredible season he had. And, man, incredible. Good job, man. Congratulations. All right. Next one. I'll let you take it over.
Eric Polens from the Motor City Ambassadors.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Again, solid performance week in, week out. He is definitely an anchor for this team. This team fishes differently when Eric is on the water.
No question. 6 starts, averaged 110 inches per game, 6.67 fish per start, and his season top 10 was 193. His big one was 20 1/4 inches. Just an amazing performance for Eric, and man, like you said, solid. I mean, him. You could talk about anybody really on the Motor City Ambassadors. He stuck out as an All Pro. Like you said, he has done an amazing job for this team, and he gets the nod for the All Pro for sure. All right, next one. Here we go. Another Granite State Sticks.
Matt Lee. He and Anglis are the 1-2 punch that has gotten Granite the record that they have. Again, that consistency that they both put up week in, week out. And, they just fish differently. They're part of this young gun crew that fishes differently than, I think Barry Davis and I were talking about that one day that, these young guys, they just They just fish differently.
Yeah,
So
no doubt.
they're fearless is really what they are.
Matt fished 6 games, averaged 131.58 inches. Season top 10 was 182.25 inches. His big one was 19. But this, like you said, the 1-2 punch here between Jake and Matt has been unbelievable and well-deserved. Mr. Matt Lee carrying the Granite State Sticks to the number 1 seed in the North. So well-deserved, Mr. Matt Lee. All right, next one. Here we go.
Brady Olette from the Maniacs,
what a season,
yeah. I mean, what's funny is we didn't see him on air a whole heck of a lot this year. He was kind of that, unknown player for a lot of people, which is too bad because I think it would have been great for everyone to see the way that he fishes because he is consistently pulling up bigs. I mean, when he goes, he's not finding the small fish. He's out finding the tanks on a regular basis. And he was a huge asset to that team this year.
No doubt. Brady, 6 starts. Listen to this. Averaged 106.79 inches, 6.33 fish. His season top 10 was 191.75 inches with a 20 3/4 kicker. Just well-deserved. And like you said, I mean, the team definitely struggled, but Brady was a big standout for that team, and Brady deserves the All-Pro nod. All right, next one.
Mike Elsey from the Indianapolis Knights. The one thing that I will say about Mike, when he fishes, he wears his heart on his sleeve when he fishes. He does. And that one game where we watched him lose that fish at the boat when it was down to the last 2 minutes and that heartbreak. I mean, I don't think anybody could watch that and not feel that total raw emotion that he had. And, as much as I hated that he lost that fish, it was awesome just to see what you guys as anglers go through while you're out on the water, so well-deserved, Mike. Great job.
He brought it, man. I mean, like you said, the emotion, the passion, he helped carry his team to the number 2 seed right now in the North. He brought it. No, there's no doubt about it. He averaged 86.33 inches per start. He had 6 starts, 187 inches as the season top 10, 20 1/4 biggest fish. And he's part of the reason why the Indianapolis Knights are where they're at. There's no doubt about it. So Mike Elsey, KFL All-Pro. All right, moving on. Here we go. Next one.
Mr. Coley McGowan from the Coosa Kingfishers. Yeah, this one's kind of just a no-brainer. I mean, when he's out there, he is on and he's on fire, and he's putting up the numbers week in, week out. I mean, he's the equivalent of Jake Inglis for the South.
Coley, 6 starts. I mean, it's a different team when this guy starts. There's no doubt about it. They've only lost 2 games, but I tell you, Coley, either if he's at home or he's traveling, he brings the fire. And he had 126 inches per start, 7.67 fish, 190 inches was his best 10 with a 20-inch lugger. Coley McGowan. Yeah. He was the Angler of the Year last year. Again, carries this Coosa Kingfishers team to the number 1 seed in the South. Well-deserved, Mr. Coley McGowan. All right, this is our last All-Pro here. Ready for this one?
Yep.
Here we go.
Mr. Corey Dreyer from the Carolina Casters. Again, the one thing that these guys, every single member of this All-Pro team has is that their teams fish differently when they're not on the water. And these guys make the difference for their teams. And Corey had a great season, and it's just
Corey
again. They're all in that same caliber of player.
Yeah, Corey, to his credit, had 7 starts right for his team. I mean, huge, right? He averaged 70.5 inches, 198.25 inches was his best top 10 with a 23.5-inch kicker. If I'm not mistaken, no, that's the second biggest kicker under Cayman Rasmussen. I mean, that was huge for what he did and how he added to his team. Not only that, I mean, just brought a breath of fresh air to the KFL, but he is the KFL All Pro, and those are your 8 who've made the KFL All Pro team. Now, without further ado, Lauren, there's been one angler that has been set apart as the MVP, the Angler of the Year for the KFL. This guy has been unbelievable, and I think there's absolutely no question. Who deserves this Angler of the Year award? He will be getting a trophy come to his house. I promise you, it is on its way. it's being actually made right now. But this guy right here is your KFL Angler of the Year. Here we go, Mr. Jake
Angelos.
Congratulations, Jake. He's the Angler of the Year. Listen, Lauren, talk about him. You called this from day one.
Yeah, I seem to recall we were it was back in November when were November, December, somewhere around in there. Yep. I think when we first got on board, and we were talking about preseason, and you asked me, who's going to win it, and I said Granite State. I mean, they are still my choice to take the cup. They've just the team that they've got put together and the way that they work together, they are still real strong. But when you asked me who MVP Angler of the Year was going to be, I was like, Jake. I'm like, you guys don't have any idea who he is, but this kid is a stick, and he has proven it. And I could not be happier for this kid. He is one of the sweetest, most humble people I've ever met in my entire life. When you try to talk to, when you want to talk to him about fishing, he, sits right down and gets right into the nitty gritty with you. And, for me being, the Barbie rod princess girl that I am, he can talk to me about stuff so that, it makes sense to me. And I can understand what he's doing out there. And, when we did the Snow Bowl and we did the ice fishing with him, it was hysterical. We had a great time. It was so much fun.
Yeah, no doubt.
I could not be prouder of him.
It just says something about who basically wants to play all 8 games. That's exhausting, right? And then you got the playoffs and everything else. I mean, this kid has put full bore effort into the KFL season. Obviously, it's shown. I mean, he's always constantly on top of the leaderboard. I mean, this wherever Jake Angelos, goes, this team goes. There's no doubt about it. He put them on their shoulders all year long. I mean, he's wrecked the North. You know what I mean? And put him on notice. I mean, this guy deserves the whole KFL. I mean, he's absolutely dominated. And
the thing is that
well deserved.
Not only did he do all 8 games of the KFL, he also did KBF. He did EKF. He did he was in the running for Angler of the Year for EKF this past weekend. And he was Angler of the Year last year for EKF, so, I mean, he's always out there on the water. He did Hobie events. He did KBF events. He did, he's all over the place. So, I mean, he's putting in the time and the effort and the work that needs to be done to get you to this level.
Yep. No doubt, man. So congratulations, Jake. Congratulations, Granite State Snips. I mean, from a great year. And man, what a year. So congratulations all the KFL All Pro team, as well as Jake for being Angler of the Year. It's been a really, really cool season to see all this shake out. So awesome. Yeah. And like you said, you called it. So
well, people might listen to me next year.
What's your final thoughts on the regular season, and what's your thoughts going into the playoffs?
Obviously this was our first year. With the KFL, and, total ride, I mean, has been an absolute blast. I think for me, the highlight is getting to know all the anglers, whether I met them in person or from being on air with them, and the relationships and the friendships that I'm developing with them will eventually transfer. It hasn't yet. But it will eventually transfer over to the business side. And that's the whole reason we're here. And part of that is, when I first came in and you and I first talked about this, I said, I want to take the idea of sponsorship and turn it on its head. And I think we've done that. I think we've done that. And, we've formed some great partnerships along the way. Now we're partnered with Cross Kicks, and I'm thrilled about that, which they all finally just arrived. So they'll be up soon.
Yeah.
And, but getting to know the anglers and learning more about all the way that they fish and all the different ways of fishing. And, there's a healthy rivalry between the North and the South anglers, which is always fun to watch. And that I think will always be a debate. But just the sheer quality of anglers that we have in the league. We have some guys that are younger that haven't been fishing for quite that long. And we have a bunch of anglers that have been fishing for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. And they all rise to the top. And, there was some drama. Yeah, we've had some issues. Kick that all to the side, because in the grand scheme of things, the level of fishing and the competition and what was done outshines all that other crap. It just, you just have to just pick up the rug and go, all right, I'm done with that. And, focus on the good. And I can't wait for the playoffs. I think it's going to be exciting. And we have great teams, and everybody has scrapped to get into it. So it's going to be fun. Whoever wins, whoever loses, everyone should be proud that they made it into the playoffs, and wherever you end up from here on out, everyone should be holding their head high.
Yeah, no, agreed. Absolutely.
And it's going to be a battle to the end, and that's what's.
It's going to be a huge battle.
I think that's what's going to be the most exciting part of it. Is that
it just gets ramped up every round, right? I consider it like hockey playoffs or whatever. I mean, each round is a different intensity, right? So I mean, wild card weekend. It kicks off and it's a different season. My mindset is completely different,
Sure.
I mean, I was telling guys, I'm as focused as ever. I mean, I'm not joking. Like, people are kind of like joking around with me. I'm like, I'm not joking around, guys. I'm dead serious. Like, I'm coming in and I'm absolutely like as laser focused on this as I've ever been. You know what I mean? So let's go.
So as long as the Warhawks are in the playoffs, if everyone could just keep the drama down just a little bit.
We shouldn't have any drama. I mean, hopefully God.
I don't think we will. I don't think we will. But you know what? It's good. I'm looking forward to the teams, being able to focus. I mean, they have a mission now. Yeah. And so it's going to be, it's kind of like when we took that break and we said, okay, how's that 3-week layover? How is that going to work for everybody? What does everybody have to do? And what a difference it was when the teams came back from that first break. Those that weren't doing well, for lack of a better word, got their crap together. And those teams who sat there and realized that they weren't where they needed to be, got their stuff together. And, there are some of the ones that are in the playoffs now, because they realized what they had to do.
I look at the Palmetto Punishers. I mean, like you said, there's a break that helped them, and they got their win. And they had to travel pretty tough places to go and win. I mean, and they hosted Coosa at Santee, big win there. Had to go to Florida and win. I mean, that team showed me a lot at the end of the season. I mean, in Southern Slayers, like they started out 0-2. They finished the season 5-3, went to Louisiana and won there in a complete absolute grinder. These teams are catching their momentum, and say, I don't care who you are. Momentum's a thing in sports. It is. It's a thing.
Yes.
It's confidence. And the teams that, you have to win, you have to learn to win. And in 2 years in the KFL, with the Warhawks, we didn't learn how to win until very late in the season. And it carried over to help us in this season. We didn't, we were 4-4. We weren't like great, but we saw improvements. And I think the teams that struggled this year, they'll take this as a learning experience, and they will come back strong next year. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. You know what I mean? I think the team to look out for next year is going to be the Swamp Donkeys. I mean, look out for those guys. You know what I mean? I think they're going to make some noise next year.
Well, and I think the other thing too, one of my big takeaways is, you essentially doubled the number of teams that you had this year from last year.
Yeah, almost. Yep.
And in doing so, with having so many new teams, I was really, really impressed at how well those new teams handled broadcasting, you know, doing the live streams, you know, getting out there, being able to travel. I mean, that is a whole new twist for them that can really, you know, I mean, some teams it took a couple of games for them to kind of figure it out how it needed to go. But I was really impressed as a whole how all the new teams handled all of that, came in, got on board. And, you know, and that's the big thing is just, you know, it's only going to get better next year. And that's what I'm excited about. You know, we hit some kinks, we hit some snags in the road, but we all know that we're 2 years into this. You're still going to have growing pains.
Sure.
And you keep growing, you keep improving, and, you know, watch out for next year will be even better. So, I mean, that's what I'm so excited about.
Oh, I agree. And we'll talk about next year after the season, for sure. You know, what our plans are. We're already making some plans, and but we're going to concentrate on the teams that have made it to the playoffs. They deserve our absolute attention and focus. I'm getting messages from folks about next year. I don't want to be disrespectful. It's kind of like, you know, I want to give these teams the due respect that they deserve and all the full attention from the KFL onto the playoffs, because they've earned that right.
They've earned it.
Yep. And then we're going to deal with next year, you know, at a later date. So, but anyway,
once we take a little break,
a little break, maybe, you know, 6 months, you know? But it's going to be fun, guys. Congratulations to the All-Pro team and all the anglers that made that, as well as Jake Angeles for the Angler of the Year. Great year for this guy. And we'll put it all together and send him his trophy. So it's going to be fun. Lauren, thanks for joining us tonight, man. This was awesome.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It was wonderful. And congratulations to all the All-Pro members. You guys worked hard. And it's been an absolute pleasure to watch every single one of you this year fish and being able to get on that. So,
yep. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Take care. See you this weekend. Take care.
Good night.